then AHP is isosceles. If they don't say the vertex with vertex H, it's probably because their picture is correct. Okay, but so you know these are congruent, and we know that this is an angle bisector, so we know angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent, and we know same segments. We can say the triangle on the left is congruent to the triangle on the right. But we're trying to prove that HR is a median, or an altitude this time. So in order to do that, we have to show that HR is perpendicular to our PA, to AP. And in order to show that, we would have to know before that angle 3 and angle 4 are right angles. To show that, we would have to know that they're congruent and supplementary. Does that make sense? Do you guys get that? So we'd have to say angle 3 and angle 4 form a linear pair, and that would just be from the diagram. But we'd also have to say angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. So do you see how I just worked up? Because I want to come up with those in that order in my proof. Once I could say angle 3 is congruent to angle 4 and then say that they form a linear pair, then I could say they're right angles. Because if they're congruent and supplementary, does that make sense? Then I could say that they're perpendicular. So I have to go through those steps. Are we okay on that? Okay. So basically, I'm going to do side angle side, and I'm going to write out the statements here. So the given triangle AHP is isosceles, and then that tells me that AH is congruent to PH. So that's my first congruent statement. And then I also know that HR is an angle bisector. That was given. So I know that angle 1, they gave me numbers, so I'm going to use them, is congruent to angle 2. And then I know the same segment property, which is HR congruent to itself. So then I could say my triangles are congruent, which is AHP, AHR, and PHR. And that's from side angle side, by the way. So then I'm going to say my parts are congruent. So what parts do I want congruent? Yeah, Lance.
Oh, I was gonna say, you want side, the top point is H, right? So you want side HR, and or no, sorry, if those triangles are congruent, then you know that angles 3 and angles 4 are congruent.
Perfect. We want angles 3. We want all this, right?
Yeah.
We want these here. So step 7 is 3 and 4 are congruent. Step 8 is just given from the diagram. They form a linear pair. Step 7's corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. This is diagram. So if two angles form a linear pair and are congruent, then they have to be
Right.
right angles, right? So then we say angle 3, angle 4 are right angles. And we say if two angles are congruent and form a linear pair, then they are right angles. So that takes a little bit of writing. But now that I have the right angles, I can say that I have perpendicular lines. HR is perpendicular to AP because perpendicular lines intersect to form right angles. And in this case, that's what we have. Ours are segments. So I should say if two angles intersect to form right angles, then they're perpendicular. If two segments, I'm sorry, form right angles, then they are perpendicular. So that would be number 9. And this, actually, that's 9. These would be 10. So I didn't fill in the initial steps because it's kind of the same thing we've been doing. Are you okay with the, because we're running a little short on time, the reasons on the right-hand side up to that? Yes.
But so after on the 10, don't you have to say that, like, it's an altitude? How would you write
Yeah,
that?
so the next step is HR is an altitude. Because an altitude intersects the base at, an altitude is perpendicular to the base. All right? So altitudes are perpendicular to base.